Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. It's been nice just jumping on and doing these once a week. I still have to sort of psych myself up to jump on. I'm like, I could do it tomorrow. But I like to wait until there's a little spark of inspiration on something that I can chat about instead of cultivating something deliberately to speak to you about. I rather it just come as a little spark of inspiration. And as I said before, I try not to give it too much pre-thought. I'd rather just figure it out as we go along on these lives. I do plenty of other things where I am far more intentional and deliberate with the content that I deliver. So it's nice to sort of just roll with it, go with the fly on these things. And you get, I guess, in a way, a bit more of an authentic experience of me on these lives. So yes, my little spark of inspiration is to do with everything that we reject and resist, how it's really just bad luck. All the things that we don't want, too bad because everything's included. And what that's to do with sort of comes from a few different perspectives, but ultimately anything that we are giving the energy of I don't want this, or hatred, seeing the dog in the background, resistance, not wanting, denial, feeling frustrated, all of those feelings that we generate about particular things in our world, we are effectively giving just as much, if not more, energy to that particular thing, which in turn actually creates it or brings it in or makes it show up. It's quite entertaining. I think I've given this example before, and this is a NLP. What we focus on is what we get concept, where if I say, whatever you do, do not think of a purple kangaroo with yellow spots. And the way our minds work is it's actually impossible to not do the not. So everything is included. Every thought has to be generated, and then we put the exclusion rule over it to go, okay, now I've seen the purple kangaroo with yellow spots. Now I want to unsee that. So strike out. Okay, but in doing so, we've already given our attention and our energy to that thing that we don't want. So a really, really good example of this is things like diets. So something that I have been doing on and off over the years is excluding particular things from my diet. And at the moment I'm working with removing of processed sugar. So anything sweet, all the obvious things, cake, biscuits, chocolate, lollies. And so, of course, in the process of going, I'm not going to have these things, I'm giving that my attention. I'm giving it my focus. In the process of rejecting those, I'm actually generating attention, which ultimately it brings it to the front of mind, whether I like it or not. I'm effectively creating a focus there and attention and calling it in, creating it for myself. Quite often this plays out in really interesting ways, and when I work with clients from a coaching perspective, what we like to do is, first of all, work out what the things are that we want and get really clear, get clarity and get a really good articulation around what is it that I want. So it's not that I don't want the sweet treats, because damn it, yeah, I do. Ultimately, what it is that I want less inflammation in my body. I want to be able to physically move and have vitality and health. Okay, so that's what I want to focus on. Okay, and one of the steps to getting that is the elimination of the sweets. So if I focus on the rejection element, the rejection of the sweets, I'm giving it just as much attention. Okay, and as I said, it's bringing it into mind, whether that's conscious or unconscious. So really, it's first of all getting clear about what I want, clarity and articulation around that particular goal, so that I can prime my RAS system around that, reticular activator system, RAS, whilst also digging deep about why is this goal something that I haven't yet achieved. So if it was something that my entire system, usually I'd say just my entire mind, but I'm going to go with my entire system, so mind, body, soul, environment, everything around that, if everything was primed for me to have that thing that I want, then I would already have it. Okay, so somewhere in my system, there's something that I'm rejecting or resisting or ignoring or hiding from that's actually creating the results that I've got right now instead of the thing that I want. So there's something in my system that's not focusing 100% on the things that I want. I've got maybe some beliefs in there. Okay, maybe I'm resisting good health because it's something that I don't actually have a clear point of reference for. Quite often we have goals for ourselves that we don't actually have a point of reference in our system to be able to create it. I think I've said this before. So if I don't know anyone in my world who earns $1 million, but it's a goal of mine to earn $1 million, yeah, then I want to create points of reference of that in my system. Okay, so actually meeting and hanging out with people that already have that thing is creating points of reference. Hey, Loz, thanks for watching. So when I work with a client, it's really digging around that system and looking for where are the things in the system that are preventing us from having that thing that we already want. Yeah. So for example, the $1 million one is quite a good example. So I may not have a point of reference for it. That might be one thing. I may also have come from a family where predominantly everyone functions with poverty mindsets. Okay, they might have beliefs around you have to work hard for your money. That's a common one. Yeah, that rich people are not good people. That's another common one. Yeah, that rich people are greedy. So if I've got somewhere in my system that rich people are greedy, then that's unlikely to work for me if I've got a goal to be rich, because I'm probably not going to want to be perceived as greedy. Okay, so there'll be things that are energetically putting the focus and attention on focusing on what I want, whether it's conscious or unconsciously. I may not even be aware that I've got this in my system, okay, saying, I don't want to be greedy. I'm not greedy. So it will do everything in its power to ensure that I'm not greedy, therefore not rich, because I've got that hidden belief system in there. So this is really fun. It's really fun uncovering the little things that are in our system that prevent us from getting what we want. And for me, it's like being a private investigator. It's like, right, if this person hasn't got the results that they want, then there is something in that system, and it's our job to find that and uncover it and then do some work around that. And it is. So whenever I personally find things that that are not working for me, it's like that's the gold. I get excited when I find my limiting beliefs or things in my system that aren't necessarily working for me. So that's why I enjoy this work so much. It's like, yes, and sometimes there's a bit of emotion that comes with that, like, realizing that I do have these beliefs and that are formed normally when we're quite young, so in our formative years. So there might be some emotions that get expressed. But for me these days, I'm not fearful of that at all. Like, it's just, I know that through feeling that, that's the healing work, and therefore, move through that, move through the emotions, get to the gold on the other side. And it's definitely so rewarding to find out those little parts of ourselves and get to know myself more. And ultimately change the results that I'm getting externally. So it's really cool. The other thing is that I love about this concept, it's that if anybody in your world is rejecting things, so you might have a point of difference, something that you're not agreeing on, okay? And I just have this beautiful little thing where I just laugh and giggle to myself internally, going, well, in them rejecting this concept or resisting it, because we're butting heads on it, I don't have to worry. The fact that it's even been seeded, that there is a difference of opinion there, then that gets included into their system. And in fact, the more resistance, the more rejection is that the person is having against this particular idea or concept, the better. It's got this beautiful oppositional effect that works. It's so clever. And I use this a lot in training, is the idea of seeding a concept, even if it's not part of the content that I'm delivering. I know that I can tell a story or a metaphor in a training and seed concepts into that. And for me, all the training and everything I do is about empowering people, empowering themselves. And so I might be in there training about having difficult conversations, and I can tell a story or a metaphor, seed a whole bunch of ideas that are all about empowering people. And no one's got any awareness about that. It's very, very sneaky, but a beautiful way to influence people in a positive manner. So just letting you know I'm doing it with integrity and for good, not for evil. That being said, these sort of ideas, NLP in particular does get utilized in sales quite heavily. The nice thing is, having been trained in this space numerous times, I've actually got a handful of NLP certifications, more than 3. Yeah, the beautiful thing about being trained in these concepts is very easy and very easy to see through other people's sales processes and what they're actually doing in working to manipulate and get a sale. It's quite clever. So I'm very grateful that I've got that ability to see through it. I'm sure I still get caught out sometimes, but it's fun when you do see what techniques are being used. Whew, well, that went quick, 15 minutes. So, in summary, everything that we are rejecting, resisting, or ignoring or trying to hide from, we're effectively giving just as much energy to the things that we want. Now, it's working out what those things are in our system that are working against the actual things that we want. And the very first step to uncovering those is to get really clear about what we want. So things like goal setting, that's a really great starting point. What is it that you want? And getting really clear. And you might find this is where things like journaling or just writing things down, in the writing down, saying, all right, I want to earn, all right, I'll do a goal setting live because this is a whole other topic, but effectively, I want to have $1 million. Just notice in your system if there's any funny buggers going on, if there's a reaction there like a flush or nerves or immediately thought pattern afterwards going, there's no way I could possibly earn that much. Is that going to work for us or against us with the thing that we want? Anyway, that's enough for now. Thank you for listening. Yeah, we've had a few pop-ons, so it's really lovely seeing your faces. For those of us that are in Melbourne, go out, enjoy the sun. I've been running out, getting little doses of vitamin D. My skin's very sensitive, so I can't just sit in this direct sun for all that long. But it is very nice that the sun is out. Fingers crossed it sticks around for the weekend. All right, with heart and soul, thanks for listening.